And let's click on that. All right, guys, what's up? Good morning. Happy Monday. I have with me one of the most incredible people I've ever met. And I'm going to talk to you about the same way I introduced you a few years ago, Jesse. Jesse is what I call an industry guy. Like, I only know like 2 or 3 people that are industry guys, right? And what I mean by industry guy, Jesse goes to every conference, every seminar, teaches tons of classes, speaks all over the country, has an amazing product. And again, Jesse's one of the guys that he doesn't want to get us out of our own industry. He wants to keep us in our industry and help us, which is amazing, which I love. But just to sit down with Jesse is pretty much I don't know, it's just an event of your life, right? Like if you get Jesse going and start asking him questions about real estate, your life just changes because he's so knowledgeable. It's just a treat, and it's just such a blessing to be friends with you and get to know you. And appreciate you coming on here. Our students are a part of the Agent Mechanics coaching group. And one of the things I promise them is I don't push too many things to buy, right? So I push Lopo on them, I push Whitley on them, Club Wealth Coaching, and I said, I swear that's it. And then I don't know how, but sorry guys, last thing that I have to push is CallAction because it's a game changer in your business. And this class today is going to go over, pretty much the basics on what it is, how to use it, and why. So Jesse, welcome to the program. Thank you again for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself in 30 seconds, and then let's dive in.
Yeah, sure. No problem. So first of all, thank you so much for that really good introduction. I'm a little nervous I can live up to everything that you've shared. So
you're fine.
So a little backstory. I've been involved in real estate for a little while, since 1987. First job was a telemarketer at a mortgage company. Fast forward 1997, what I kind of learned is like, hey, this internet thing looks pretty important. Start buying some websites, start going to teaching myself basically programming, how to build websites and things like that. By 2000, I'm generating about 300 leads a day, all on the mortgage side. Since then, basically, I've been in technology. So that's, over 20 years at this point. I've built websites around map search. I built the second map search website, real estate map search website. I built some real estate search engines and things like that. So a bunch of different ideas. So at the end of the day, I'm a salesperson. I love real estate, love the mortgage business, and have been in it for kind of ever. So today we service about 2,000 customers. We work with most of the top teams in the country. We through our systems pass about 1 million calls a month. So we have a little bit of experience. We get to see a little bit firsthand, what's happening and what's working, what's not working. And so one of the things that you wanted me to, kind of twofold on this talk was, number one, share some executable ideas for you guys. Those of you that are running teams or individual agents. First is we got to generate some leads. So I'm going to share with you some ideas and some resources that we have so that you can generate leads. And then we'll close that off with kind of a demo and tie all of that stuff in together with basically CallAction.
Let me pause for a second, Jesse.
Yeah.
For those of you listening on the podcast, like always, this is something really good to listen to, but you're going to want to go back to our group or realestatemarketingshow.com or the YouTube channel, because we are going to do some screen sharing. So I'll disclose that up front. It's kind of like when I teach agents how to read, I tell them, or listen to a book, I say, listen to the first time for concept and then the second time for context. So the next time you come back for the screen share will be for your context. All right. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to throw that down there before people go, I thought this was a podcast. What the heck?
No, perfect segue. So one of the segues on that. So if you want to get a copy of this deck, you can go ahead and text to this phone number. So you guys will write this down, 657-444-1500. So 657-444-1500. And you're going to text the word 14 space ways. So 14 ways, which are the tips that I'm going to share to you right now. And I'm going to give you a deck that has basically links to all of the help docs that show you exactly how to execute all these quick ideas that we're going to be talking about right now, basically.
But
Do you want
that number?
657-444-1500. You're
Text
going to
14
text the
ways.
word 14 ways. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here. You want to give me permission to share that by chance?
Yeah, I sure do.
Okay, perfect. And what we're going to talk about is kind of just some best practices that we're seeing out there, some cutting edge ways to generate leads for you guys. The nice thing about CallAction is that all of the product suites that Mike has mentioned to you, whether it's Whitley, Club Wealth Coaching, or Ylopo, we actually interact and integrate with most of those products and whatever your existing CRMs are as well, basically. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started here. So what I wanted to initially start off with was these 14 ways that we're seeing that are working really well in terms of generating leads right now. And this will kind of tie in everything. I'll talk a little bit about the theory of each one, how to execute the idea, and then at the end, I'll show you call action and how it all kind of ties in together. So again, here's the phone number and here's the text for info code for those of you that want to request a copy of this deck. And we will go ahead and move forward on this. So the first thing is putting your phone number in Facebook. Facebook allows you to, on your business pages, to have a dedicated phone number on there. Now, some theory behind this. About 98% of all Facebook access is actually done on a mobile device. So as consumers are kind of searching through and interacting with your business page, you know, eventually at the point of no return, they're going to want to turn around and contact you. If you put a call action, call capture phone number as that click to call button on the page, what's going to end up happening is anyone and everyone who finds you or finds your business page and clicks that call button will automatically be connected to you. You could capture that particular lead, and that lead could be synced directly into your CRM automatically without doing anything at all, basically through a Facebook integration.
Yeah, I'm 1 minute in and you blow it up already. I love that.
Yeah.
Dude, that's why I talk to you more. Like, you bring out the best in marketing. Like, my God. Like, I would have never thought of that on my own. And I thought I was pretty smart, but never mind.
Yeah, on Facebook, you know, the reality is if you look at a business page, you have a couple different what they call to action buttons that you can put on there. You can send them to a website, which that increases friction, right? Because if that person goes to your website, they still need to fill out some kind of form in order for you to capture that particular lead. At the end of the day, the phone is just a mobile device, right? And it's still a phone. So if they see a big giant like call Mike now button, a lot of people are going to do that. National Association of Realtors shows that 38% of all first contacts from the consumer to a real estate agent with the real estate that they actually used to purchase a home was a phone call. So they're going to search online. They're going to do all those kind of things, which is kind of low friction. That's why we love the internet. But when we're ready and we find a piece of property that we love, we're going to turn back around and, you know, make that phone call. Mike, I mean, you probably purchased cars not too long ago, knowing you. How did you start your car buying journey? Did you kind of dream a little bit about it? Aspirational search kind of online initially?
Yep, it was aspirational, then research,
Yep.
and now I'm a transactional buyer. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, I've met people through the internet, and then I hit the button, call or contact. Simple.
Exactly. Exactly. So here below, the way that this deck will kind of work when you get this deck, all of these links will be live. So all you have to do is click on this link. This is an actual YouTube video that shows you step by step on how to add the phone number into your Facebook profile really easily. So So that's number one. So number two is Facebook lead generation. So one of the favorite things that we like to do is watching video is very, you can't put a link inside of the video, right? So all you're going to do is you're going to listen like you are right now. And at the beginning of this, I gave you a way to get this deck, which was to text a keyword to a particular phone number. That's a pretty easy call to action that you can do. And so one of the things that we like to try and do is that if you're doing YouTube videos, you're going to notice that your calls to action are either telling someone, to visit a web page, and you're going to say that out loud during the video, which will be transcribed in the text, basically, if you're using the voice transcriptions. And then you can put it into the description. Again, the majority of YouTube views is actually on a mobile device. So if you get an easy to remember phone number and you use a text for info keyword, that text for info keyword can then generate the leads directly from YouTube from either the description or directly from watching the video. And you want this kind of two-way asynchronous communication. And this is why text for info is so powerful. I want you to think of something really quickly. Mike, do you have an idea about how much the political campaigns are spending this year in advertising?
I couldn't
Just a
even
ballpark.
imagine. I couldn't imagine. Millions and millions.
$10 billion is the number that they're spending in political advertising. All of real estate on an annual basis is about 12 to 14 billion. Okay. But notice that all of the political campaigns, what are they asking you to do? They're asking you to text a keyword specifically to a phone number. And there's some reasons why for that. Number one, the vast majority of people who are watching TV are doing that with a cell phone next to them. And when they're doing that with that cell phone next to them, it's much easier to tell someone text to a particular phone number. And what they do is they capture the phone numbers off of that, and they use those phone numbers to build Facebook custom audiences, which I'll show you here in a few minutes after this as well, basically. So you could be having videos on YouTube, getting people to request information, and then retargeting those same people on Facebook that are that don't have a Facebook pixel on YouTube. Does that make sense? Like, it's not even possible. So that's why the text for info is so powerful. So some ways that we do this, Veronica Figueroa using StreamYard has done a really good job with this, where she's doing virtual tours. And in those virtual tours on the replays, she's showing at the bottom a little ticker that shows text for info on all of the videos during the YouTube video. So really, really powerful way doing virtual open house tours. So this will show you the 5 steps that you can go ahead and generate leads from YouTube. So as you're kind of talking out loud, you're just gonna, give out a dedicated call capture phone number and a text for info phone number, much like the politicians are doing, to generate and capture leads. So
our first question
again
is, what is StreamYard? StreamYard, you guys, is a streaming software similar to how I'm going live on Facebook, but StreamYard can go live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, a couple other platforms all at the same time. And it's
all simultaneously.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful. So if you guys don't have
and
it today,
it's fairly inexpensive, and it has some really nice features where you can do like some overlays to make it seem almost like a newsroom. So it's really, really a powerful way. So again, YouTube is super powerful. The nice part about YouTube is this allows you to create evergreen content that's going to be living there forever. If you compare that to, like, let's say Facebook Lives and stuff, you can do these same techniques that I share in this YouTube part, but because there's so much noise there and the frequency of posting happens so quickly, it kind of comes and goes. You want to make sure that that stuff can live forever. Also, what's pretty interesting is if you're doing Facebook Lives and you save those videos, make sure that you give them some names and some good titles, just like you do on the YouTube side, because we are starting to see Google actually index videos from your Facebook business pages are starting to show up in search results. So just a little tip there for you. So next thing that we want to kind of talk about is, again, this idea about using the what's still like the top 10 website in the world, which is Craigslist, and now up and coming basically Facebook Marketplace. Now, both of these platforms still have tons and tons of buyers that are going to these platforms and sellers that are there. And first, let's get into the psychology of why they go there. As everyone knows, market inventory is at historical lows. It is so tight right now that there's no inventory. So buyers, as they get desperate, what they're looking for is they're looking for alternative sources where there may be properties that are posted. And so Craigslist and Facebook are still really top places for traffic. And both of those marketplaces, one thing that is interesting and why consumers still go there by the millions every single month is because that ad to be posted is in a reverse timestamp. Unlike something that gets posted, let's say on the MLS or on Zillow or on any of the other portals that they find, there's no timestamp of when that was actually uploaded. So oftentimes what they're finding is that the property is already pending, it was never for sale, the data is incorrect, or whatever it might be. What consumers know by going to Facebook Marketplace and to Craigslist is that someone needed to manually put that ad there, and it's usually timely. So the deeper down the funnel, the more frustrated that they are in terms of trying to find property on traditional lead sources, meaning portals or MLS, the more that they're going to go to these alternative places because of the timestamps. They know that the properties that are there are timely, and that when it's sold, it's going to get taken down fairly quickly. Most of that stuff is not really old. So some tips on this: you can create the ad. The basic concept of the workflow is really simple. Craigslist took away the ability to put a link in the description. So when that happened, all of the agents disappeared because there was no way to push traffic to the website, but the consumers stayed. So there's less people there. Facebook Marketplace, same thing. The only way that people can contact you is through sending a DM. You can't necessarily post an active link in there. So on both of these, again, you can use a text for info. On both of these platforms, the majority of the access is also done on a mobile device. So easy to remember phone number, simple keyword. You can have people text, and you can generate leads all day long at scale from very bottom of the funnel interested consumers. Now, I'll give you some tips on both of these. Two kinds of properties you should really focus on. First-time home buyers, that's where people are going to go because they're a little bit more savvy for this kind of stuff. So low-end properties are the bottom quartile of your market. You want to post those kind of properties, and post fixer-uppers or investment properties that will cash flow. So multi-unit, 2 to 4 units, because you get a lot of real estate investors that are farming in here trying to find basically FSBOs and foreclosures and things like that. So if you want to develop relationships with real estate investors, start posting some good deals in here, and all of a sudden you can make some connections to some cash buyers. So this is kind of a bonus tip of posting basically on these platforms. So those of you that understand how to run your cash flow numbers on investment properties, put down your cap rates and all of that stuff, post those ads in here, and then you'll be able to generate some leads from some real estate investors.
It's true,
So
man.
again,
Not to totally interrupt you, but I guess I have to, because just this weekend, two things. I was listening to one of my investment classes, the little classes that you buy on how to find property, right? As an investor. So I was listening to the podcast. I think it was Deeper Pockets or whatever, and they were talking about how Craigslist is more active than ever. And then I was looking for a property for myself in Florida, a rental or seller carry situation, because right now I'm going through getting all these different loans at one time, and there I was on Craigslist. And what's interesting, you talk about Facebook Marketplace, and I've been kind of testing this before I brought it out to my students, but Facebook it's retargeting their own people. Like
Hmm.
I was clicking on houses in Florida in Facebook groups, and then Facebook was retargeting me and sending me Florida homes in my feed. So
Yep.
I was like, holy
Yeah.
crap, that is a new game-changing thing. So if you advertise your listings on Facebook, not only can you put that number in there and just blow it up, but you're also going to have your properties, people, anybody who clicks on it is going to be retargeted with your properties, because Facebook apparently knows there's not enough listings in Facebook
Yep.
doing the work for it,
Yep.
which is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, Facebook, the marketplace as a whole, is a merchandiser. So you know how it uses AI similar to Amazon. So as you're looking at certain kind of products, it wants to keep feeding you the same kind of products that you're looking at. So it creates a virtuous cycle for you guys. If you advertise basically properties that are in there, those same buyers are going to keep seeing more and more properties, and it's going to increase the likelihood that they're going to click on your ads if you're that kind of dominant agent in that particular area. So
okay.
the AI of the Facebook marketplace constantly gives you more of what you're already looking at, so that it increases the likelihood to be sticky and keep the customers coming back. So so interesting way to kind of game that algorithm. But again, put a simple phone number in there directly in that ad. You can have, you know, people call or text you directly, and then you can run a secondary phone number with a strong call to action, which could be something like floor plans or something like that, that is hard to find anywhere else. And that could be posted basically on these ads. So great source of business still. Way underutilized by most people right now.
Yeah.
So next thing that we'll talk about, speaking of Facebook and kind of retargeting. So one of the main things or use cases of call action that we talk about, especially if you're a heavy listing agent, is once you start using these call capture numbers across all of your marketing, the important thing is that you need to think about that every marketing, there's 3 primary calls to action that you're giving every single customer. You're typically telling them, you're advertising a phone number, you're maybe giving them a website. Those are the 2 primary ways that you're trying to capture leads generally across all of your marketing. Now, all of us are doing really well because our websites are designed for Facebook retargeting. You know, if you got a Ylopo website, the moment that they hit that, we're going to keep retargeting them. And they can fill out, when they're ready, they can fill out the form on those websites, and they can give a name, phone number, and email, and that's one way to capture leads. But in those 3 primary ways of you doing your marketing, phone call technically is the highest sense of urgency and nearest to the transaction, near the bottom of the funnel, because it's not just self-service, but it's immediate service. It's on demand, right? And if we think about this, what are consumers learning right now by using online? Before, online was a research material, and we love that because we can kind of search at our own pace, right? Without talking to someone, and learn as we needed to. But as the internet has kind of progressed over the last 20, 25 years or so, we moved from research to actually conducting business and to satisfying needs. So, you know, we have everything on demand now. But people, in order to do deals, need to be on demand too. And this goes back to the oldest technology of them all, which is the phone, right? Because on demand is basically simply just clicking a button and calling someone. And the interesting thing nowadays is that phone numbers advertised anywhere online, when they are viewed on a mobile device, is a click to call button, and it makes you on demand instantaneously. The important part is with call action is that every phone call automatically becomes lead capture. What is more friction? Is it landing on a web page and asking someone to go visit www, my long URL, land on the landing page, fill out their name, phone number, email, and click submit? Or is it simply just call or text, right? From purely cognitive load and amount of friction that's involved,
And
that's
what's
a huge thing.
amazing to me, Jesse, is like I'm an info marketer. I'm a digital marketer, right? And I know that all these things are just they're just lead magnets so I can go into somebody's CRM.
Yep.
The more I know about it, the less I care, right? Like a
Right.
buyer is going to click or text to, 555-1212 for the 5 deadliest mistakes a first-time home buyer makes, or the top
Correct.
10 deadliest mistakes that the first-time home seller will make, right? Like, I don't care if I'm going to land in somebody's CRM. I want to know what the hell that
Yep.
report says. It's super powerful.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And when you remove the friction of the form and you interact in a way that is much more natural with the consumers, meaning a phone number and a text for info, it just becomes much more powerful. You mentioned info marketer. Now, info marketers, product marketers, if you look at late night TV nowadays, have you noticed that websites are gone and
Yeah,
it's all text for info?
thanks for info.
And the primary reason is if they're sitting on the couch with their phone next to them, which is like 99% of people are watching TV and they're what we call two screening, right? They have two screens at the same time. They have one screen, which is whatever they're watching. And then at the same time, they have the secondary screen, which is their phone. A lot of times what they're seeing on TV, they're actually doing Google searches and trying to interact with whatever they're seeing at the same time. Now, to tie all of that stuff in, what becomes really powerful with this is this retargeting. Now, most people, everyone knows that you need to have a Facebook pixel in order to be able to retarget. The difficult part with that is there's websites that you can't put a Facebook pixel on. For example, LinkedIn. I can't put a Facebook pixel on LinkedIn. I can't put a Facebook pixel on YouTube. I can't put a Facebook pixel on any of those. All that I can do is put a website to try and generate people or encourage them to click on that link and end up on my website that does have a Facebook pixel, and then ultimately, hopefully, get them to fill out some kind of form to basically generate a lead. Now, when you start using text, the nice part of this is it doesn't matter what platform they're on. As soon as they send in that text, you're able to capture the phone number and you can build a Facebook custom audience off of phone numbers. The reason why this is so important is that in order to use Facebook Messenger, you must provide your cell phone number. And it's the accurate phone number 100% of the time. You can give a fake email to create a fake profile on Facebook. And so even though you might submit a Facebook lead ad, you may not be getting a real email, but you will always get 100% the exact phone number. Why is that important? Your match rates go through the roof, right? This is, again, the reason why the political ad campaigns are asking you to text is because with that particular phone number, this is almost the new social security number. Think of how much information you can backtrack and find off of this. Number one, you can find the exact person on Facebook with that particular phone number and target ads directly to that single person. You could do Google searches and backtrack and do a reverse search off of that phone number and try and find addresses. Where does that person live? These are all things that basically CallAction does all in real time. But building that retargeting list off of phone numbers is the highest match rate you can possibly get. Okay. Really, really powerful way. This is a
Good, man. That's
step-by-step.
all we needed. That's everybody listening. That's all you need. Just do this one thing and you'll be rich.
Yeah. So think of the power of it. Think of the power if you are a heavy listing agent and you've got a bunch of signs, right? And we're struggling with Facebook targeting on your normal ads because Facebook is taking away all of the targeting because of fair housing.
Right.
But if I get customers that are texting or calling my yard sign, and that particular phone number is the only place I have that phone number, now I have a list of interested people who I know are actively driving around and calling yard signs. Now,
Well, I'm so sorry, but dude, you taught me something that's absolutely crucial that I want everybody to understand. When and people even say on their voicemails now, if I don't know your number, I'm not going to answer. So that's so
right,
true, right? And those 3 years ago when you were teaching at my Home Smart office in front of 50 people, you said this. You said, think about how many calls that you miss. How many calls do you purposely not answer? And probably a lot of those are sign calls, which are the agent's number one absolute best lead, least
Yep.
expensive lead. Like it's mind blowing, right? So
Yeah.
on every one of my for sale signs is a call action number. So at any time, I know it's a sign call because the text comes right away. And I'm like, oh,
Yep.
that was a sign call.
Yeah.
I'm calling back right away, right? And what does it say? It
Yeah.
automatically replies back to him and says, hey, it's Mike Bjorkman. I'm on the other line. I'll get back to you in a few minutes or something like that. And then I'm like,
Right.
oh, it's a sign call. If everybody got call action just for that one thing, it would dramatically change careers. So I had to point that out in case you were going to forget to say that. So sorry, buddy. Go.
Yeah, no problem. The other thing too is we are spending, thousands of dollars trying to do lead gen. But here's the other thing about a sign call that for some reason doesn't seem that obvious to a lot of people. That lead is twice as valuable as any other lead that you could possibly generate because it's your own listing. it's a 6% revenue potential versus 3% or 5.5 or whatever your split is, But the reality is that lead is twice as valuable. We're already generating them. And if you really want to think kind of conceptually, Zillow, right, who's generating $2 billion a year in advertising revenue, all that they're doing is they're generating virtual sign calls.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Like it's a virtual sign call, but yet all of us who have real signs and we're the ones with our own inventory, we're doing nothing to basically capture those leads. And that's what we really need to focus on. That's one of the core premises of call action anyway. So let's get another kind of tip here, basically. So right now, obviously, because of COVID, what we've seen is that we've gone to virtual open houses. So what's really interesting of this, many of you may have, walked into a property, did a Facebook Live, and you're kind of talking about that property out loud to basically people. Now, the reality is how are you going to capture the lead off of a Facebook Live unless that person sends you a DM, right? So here's a new way is that you set up a dedicated phone number that is only your Facebook phone number. I have a phone number that I only give on all of my Facebook Lives. So I basically tell everyone like, hey, if you got any questions, just call or text me. Here's my number. And people can reach me that way. So I know how much reach my Facebook Live is basically getting. Now, during the live, you could tell people if you have any questions, just go ahead or call or text me. Here's my number. That's going to live forever again in that Facebook Live thereafter. Now, what you can do is you could use the text for info to pre-advertise your upcoming virtual open houses that you're going to do and have people to text to get text reminders of the Facebook Lives that you are going to do. Inside a call action, we're one of the only platforms that allows you to build a drip campaign that uses specific dates and times. So let's say, for example, I'm going to do a virtual open house next weekend. All week, I could be running ads that say, text virtual open house to a specific phone number. Every single person who sends in that text, I can have a drip campaign that on Saturday at 10 a.m. sends a text message to everyone at that exact time with a link to my Facebook Live business page so that I can get my views up through the roof and get the leads basically captured. During the week, I could be retargeting everybody who's sending in that information. So we created a profile where what you do is you do, let's say, 4 virtual open houses on one day, maybe 15 minutes at each property. So every half an hour, what you're doing is you're going from listing to listing and you're doing this virtual walkthrough where you're just doing, a selfie stick with a wide angle on your cell phone, go live. It's broadcasted to your personal, to your business page so that you can boost those ads further down line. But you set up a text campaign that text them at 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11, 11:30, and 12. So what happens, and this is the fear of missing out, right? FOMO.
Yep.
During COVID, right now is a lot of people don't know if they can actually buy homes or if the business was actually moving. But if they see a Facebook Live and there's 30 people on the Facebook Live, what does that create?
Yep.
It's the fear of missing out, right? It's like looking a video that has 1,000 views versus one view. You go, oh, that video, if it only has one view, must suck. If that video goes, has 1,000 views, you automatically think that it's better. So if you're doing a Facebook Live and there's 20 or 30 people on there and the count keeps going up every single time, people are automatically going to assume like, wow, the market must be hot because there's 25 people watching Mike basically do his virtual open house, right?
And that's something we got to point out too, because I have a couple students that I can see watching this. Reminders to do your Facebook Lives from your business pages for exactly what you just said, to boost those a little bit.
Yep.
And you could still share them. So
Yep.
those of you watching that do that, remember to do it from your Facebook page, please.
Yep. Facebook business page, let it live forever. They also get indexed when they're on the Facebook business page. And then you can run that ad as a retargeting. A lot of us do just listed, just sold. So here's another little tip for you is do the Facebook Live, do the ad, and then retarget that video in that same geographic area, because the nosy neighbor wants to know what those properties look like. If they see that you're on the cutting edge and doing these lives, you're going to end up picking up listings too. It's the same reason why your yard sign, oftentimes, the first day that it goes up, all of the calls to that sign are nosy neighbors. And if you do a good job there, there's a good chance that you'll pick up a listing off of that. So we'll go to another one. How to get 5-star reviews or reviews from any other platform. So one of the tricks that we show you on this particular help doc, it gives you a way to get the link for basically reviews that you can text to your customers as you're standing in front of them. So imagine you go out and you show a piece of property, you get done showing the piece of property and you say, hey, this is Mike, reviews are pretty important. Let me text you right now a link to my Zillow, and could you give me a 5-star review really quick? It's going to help me with my ranking and everything. You can just give me a review saying that, I met you at the property, that I showed you the property. It doesn't have to get reviews only on closed transactions. So a lot of people don't understand this. The other tip that I'm going to give to you on this is, because the reviews rank really well on Zillow, right? Or on Google and everywhere else, because Zillow's got a lot of juice, meaning a lot of popularity behind that. If you are standing in front of the customer and you save this link and you text it to them, now you can guide them to basically put keywords inside of your reviews. So let's say, for example, Mike, you're the top Santa Clarita agent. So what you want to do is you're going to text the customer as you're standing in front of them. Hey, John, thanks for taking a look at this home, or, at closing or whatever it might be. Let me text you this link. Let's take 5 minutes just to do a quick review together. And I'll help you on what to say right now. Like, we'll just do it together. And so now you might do something like, I worked with Mike Bjorkman, top Santa Clarita agent, who helped me buy a home in neighborhood name, right? And got me top dollar for selling my home in city name. So you're jamming all of these keyword phrases in that review. That's naturally going to get it to rank higher, because when someone goes on Google and types in top listing agent in Santa Clarita, if you have that exact phrase in your Zillow review page, there's a high likelihood it's going to rank in the top 10, right? So now you're getting free traffic off of your website. So if you have access to texting link immediately then and there, and that way you could do it as you're meeting with that customer in person. So really powerful way for you guys. Side note, obviously Zillow's using the CSAT scores, or the customer service scores, to determine who they're going to use for flex programs in the future to get referrals. So pretty important for you guys to be working on this stuff. Whether you like Zillow or you don't, that's irrelevant. If you basically want to play on the platform, definitely make sure that you're building those reviews either which way. Okay, you can get free business off of that. So And SEO optimize the reviews by guiding them with exactly what you want them to say. Because that's the hardest part for people to give you reviews is they don't know what to say. Like, oh, Mike's a good looking guy. But you want them to be a little bit more specific. So guide them, and it's much easier to do it. And you have kind of that little bit of pressure because you're standing right in front of them, just removing all the friction to do it. And this could be any platform. Could be your Google link to your Google business page to get some reviews off of that. So make sure you're working on all of those things. So save the shortcuts, to summarize, save the shortcuts with the direct links to each one of your review platforms, have it available, stand in front of the customer, text it to them, and then complete it with them right then and there. Because all these review platforms will allow you to do it on a mobile device, okay? With the exception of Yelp, you want them to go to the main page and search you out in order to do that. And that's a whole different talk. So next, basically, we'll talk a little bit about floor plans. So if you look at the National Association of Realtors, they have a study every year called the Home Buyer and Seller's Guide study. And in that particular study, they talk about, one of the questions in there is like the most valuable information that consumers want from real estate agents. Number one, photos by a long shot, right? We know that. Not too many people are basically calling you and saying, tell me about the house. Most of them talk, even in their language, say, I want to see the house. Show me the house, right? Think about how much of real estate is visual. So the the number three thing. So number one is photos. Number two basically is a detailed description. Number three is floor plans. Okay. And obviously MLS right now can't basically upload floor plans to it. Portals did during basically virtual tours and during COVID are allowing you to basically update floor plans in there. But the floor plans are cheap and a great lead magnet for all of your listing inventory. So this particular link here gives you the different ways that you can get floor plans. Box Brownie, probably the simplest and the cheapest at about 20 bucks or so. You can just map out the approximate rooms on a napkin or a piece of graph paper, fax it over to them or email it to them as a PDF. They can convert that into a really nice high-res floor plan. You don't need the measurements of the rooms. This is really important with Box Brownie. It could be really simple. That's about 20 or 30 bucks, okay? You can go the Home Depot route, which is going to cost you about 100 bucks. You go to homedepotmeasures.com and Home Depot will send somebody out who will measure the rooms and do basically a floor plan. And again, you'll get a PDF or a report and you can upload that into all of your marketing materials. So the important part, the concept is really simple. Order a floor plan, save it as a PDF, upload it to the cloud onto a Google Drive or something like that, and then use a text for info because you want to capture the phone numbers of the people who want to see that floor plan. They send in a text, you text back the link to the floor plan. Really, really simple. Again, this is the top three most valuable things from customers that they want from real estate agents, and none of us provide it. So if you start providing it, you're going to generate a boatload of leads. Okay. Yeah. Really simple way.
There's a bunch of 360 cameras out there now that are very expensive. Like we use the one for Wailopo. I forget the name of it. I'll think of it in a second. But any iGuide or any Matterport
Astor Room
listening, they all have those hosted on a site. That means they all have their individual link, and that's what you can send out as the text. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated like on a drive file or anything like that. It's already as a link. So a lot of people don't realize that, because when people buy their websites and virtual tours, that's all kind of built in, but it does have a unique link. And that's what I wanted to point out to everybody, because it's pretty cool. Like, and until this morning, I never even thought of that. So this one tip alone is a game changer. And thank you for bringing that to our attention, because that's so good.
Yeah, and we've used the same kind of sign writer, like on a text for info sign writer on a listing inventory that says, view a 3D tour, text a keyword basically, And you can use that to generate leads from your Matterport tours and stuff like that if you already have it available. Because right now, the thing is, on most of this stuff, you're left kind of fending for your own. Like, you'll order the Matterport tours or the virtual tours, and people want those, but there's not a whole lot of place to host it.
Right.
And so you have to somehow market the link out there. So if you want to make sure that you're generating the leads at a really high level, just basically make it available via text for info, text back the link directly to your Matterport tour. Again, a really, like you said, a really powerful one. I Spy 360, amazing tool
Yeah.
for this stuff as well.
Yeah, and that's cheap, you guys. That's like $150 investment,
Yep.
and I think it's $29 a month to host all of them.
Yep.
It's very inexpensive and integrates with Ylopo perfectly.
Yep.
So for those
Yeah.
of you that are on Ylopo with us, I know several people watching this are. You make sure we consider in all of our ads. So good job.
Yep. So next, and this is really powerful for those of you guys that got teams and you're still cold callers and you're going through expireds or anything like that. And I'm going to give you some really interesting stats from this. So earlier this year, iOS Apple phones released an update called iOS 13. And in that iOS 13, they have a tool that if you are not in someone's phone book on their cell phone, you will go straight to voicemail directly. And so it's basically a spam guard to help kind of cut down basically spam calls and robocallers. Now, the reality is, for us in real estate, you should not have that turned on, because you're going to be filtering out all of your customers that are calling you from all of your advertising, because obviously none of them are in your phone yet because it's their first time calling. So do not turn that on if you are a real estate agent, unless you like to not make money. Okay.
Yeah, that comes through now. After the last update, it says potential spam when your phone rings. So make sure you guys turn that off. I answer it anyways, but probably don't know how to turn it off, but I still answer them.
So what we've seen with this is when you're making cold calling efforts, and if you're circle prospecting or anything like that, we used to be able to connect at about 15 to 25%, somewhere right around there, cold calling, depending on the time and date that you were making outbound phone calls and what the list was. So if you're using like a Mojo multi-line dialer or something like that, well, after these updates, that call connect rate has dropped down pretty significantly, and we're like in the 10 to 15% mark. Sometimes we're not even cracking basically 10% nowadays. So one of the ways that we started experimenting is you can mask the outbound phone number on a Mojo dialer and most of the dialers. And when you're using a triple line dialer, the problem is that you can't really get the inbound phone calls because it'll break your calling session. And so you're making all these outbound phone calls. And as you're running the triple line, what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a bunch of missed calls to a bunch of people's phone numbers. Well, if those people try and call or text back, that's going nowhere. So inside of CallAction, what we show you is that you mask the outbound phone number with basically a CallAction call capture number. So now as you're making all of your outbound dials, we recommend do not leave a voicemail. Use curiosity to get people to call or text back. And when you do this and you just basically have an outbound phone call, the call is missed, some of them will call or text back. If you do leave a voicemail, make sure it is very vague. Don't say, "Hi, this is Michael Bjorkman. I was calling to see if you were interested in listing a home for sale. I noticed that you have a FSBO. Call me back at this number." Just basically say, "Hi, it's Mike Bjorkman. I was giving you a call about your home. Please call or text me back." That's it, right? You need to leave curiosity to get people to respond. That's key number one. But in these cold calling sessions, we've run thousands of calling sessions through this. And when you mask the caller ID with a local phone number and you use basically CallAction, what's going to end up happening is you're going to get about 8 to 10% of people calling and texting back. So that single calling session, you are actually doubling your contact rate by simply being able to interact with the people that are calling and texting back. Now, as Mike alluded to a little bit earlier, when you get a call through one of our phone numbers, we're going to send you a text first that says the call is coming back from such and such lead source. We're going to, if you miss the phone call, CallAction texts back the customer and says, "Hi, it's Mike. Sorry, I just missed your call. I'm on another call now. How can I help you?" And what's going to end up happening is if you're doing this during a callback session, people are going to start basically calling and texting back, and then they all get basically a text from you. In that text, you're going to put your website address. "Hi, it's Michael Bjorkman of mikebjorkman.com. I just missed your call. How can I help you?" So let's say you did a 500 calling session. Out of that, you get 8% of those people that call back or text back. So that's about 40 people that are going to call or text. Out of those 40 people, a bunch of them are going to click on that link that is in your missed call text message that goes back to that customer. And they're going to click on that link and they're going to end up on your Ylopo website from a missed phone call that now then gets retargeted. Okay. Really, really powerful. Now, on the text messages that are coming back, that are coming in, right now, you have no way of capturing that stuff. So again, put the phone number. All of these callbacks are now going into CallAction, being captured, and then being pushed into your CRM, and they're being engaged with automatically in case you miss the call. Now, as Mike already knows, the first message that we text out is, "Sorry, I just missed your call. How can I help you?" They text back to say, "Hey, I just missed your call. What was this in reference to?" And what happens is inside of CallAction, if you don't respond in 4 minutes, we have a second automation that will re-engage the lead a second time. And that'll just normally say something to the effect of, "Give me 45 minutes and I'll call you back when I finish this call." But when you're using it in a cold calling session, the powerful tool is you already know why they're calling and what they're texting back. So you just change that second message to say, "Oh, I was calling you to see if you were thinking about selling your home anytime soon." So now what happens is it's like having two people doubling your effort, trying to engage your leads. You're making your outbound phone calls on your cold calling session. A certain percentage of those people, nearly identical to the percentage that you're actually connecting and talking with, are going to call or text back. They're going to get this text interaction that then shows your website, and it's going to automatically qualify them or ask them if they're interested in basically selling their house. And you can get a yes or no. And the nice part is that while you're doing your cold calling session, you can be texting back and forth because our stuff is mobile responsive. And you can text and directly from your computer. Once they've interacted, now you can put them onto a drip campaign, which we have some drip campaigns that are pre-written that will follow up with them, let's say on FSBOs for the next 3 months, right? And just checking in. "Hey, did you get a chance to sell your house yet? How are things going with your home sale?" So on and so forth. And you can provide them things of value. This is a really, really, really powerful way to be super efficient for those of you that are cold callers or do call nights, basically.
And I know you want to talk about it later, but I think this is a really good time to point it out, how it appends the data as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that CallAction will do is when you get a call or a text in, we're going to do a reverse data append off of that phone number. We're going to try and find social profiles. We're going to try and find addresses. We're going to try and find emails that are related to that person. If we do find an address, we'll try and give you a full property profile as well, with a direct link so that you could see that property on Zillow to see if it's currently listed and what the Zestimate is, giving you everything at your fingertips. If you're a Cloud CMA user, you could actually do a Cloud CMA integration and have a one-click button to basically push order a Cloud CMA and be able to download it as a PDF and text it over to them. Really powerful. So the important part here is capturing those callbacks, because those people are responders, right? There's a concept of responders and doubling down on the responders. If you know that they're calling back, that's because they're interested in selling, and that's why they're calling back. After a FSBO, they're trying to basically get it done. So if you can turn back around and be top of mind and capture all those opportunities that you're currently missing because you're using a triple line dialer. So most of you don't even know what the callback rate is. And as I mentioned to you, that callback rate is just as high as your actual connect rate nowadays. Most people texting back. So next, talking about Cloud CMA, if you are in California, and I don't know, I think there's like 350,000 users of Cloud CMA that actually get it for free across the entire United States because it's they have MLS deals. Some of you may not know this, but inside of Cloud CMA, they give you for free a dedicated home valuation landing page. It's a really long URL that's really ugly, but people can go in there, request basically their address, and they instantly get a full PDF, a full CMA directly from you, sent via email, and they get uploaded into your Cloud CMA account. So if you don't want to pay money to buy a home valuation landing page, you can use Cloud CMA, and a text for info is what I recommend, because ultimately you want to capture the phone number. So everything that I talk about is about capturing the phone number, because that's the whole reason why you send them to a landing page, is to get the phone number ultimately. So you can bypass all of that stuff by using text for info. But you can run a Facebook ad that just has an image that says text home value to a phone number, and you just text them back to Cloud CMA link, which is mobile responsive. People will be able to request their own Cloud CMA. If they do it, great. Even if they don't, who cares? You already have the phone number, and we might be able to find the address, and basically you can call them back and follow up with them. So really, really powerful way for you to, again, generate leads for free using existing tools and just kind of hacking some stuff together. So this is a Cloud CMA workflow, gives you screenshots, shows you basically everything on how to do it. So really powerful.
Team listening, we're using HomeBot with Ylopo now, so we can
Yep.
say text evaluation to so and so and so, and we'll send you your link right to you with HomeBot. So that'll be pretty rad.
Yeah. So with HomeBot, an interesting thing that you can do on that is I would show a sample HomeBot review, right? Or some sample HomeBot report, and then basically say, request your personalized report, text, blah, blah, blah. And then that way they see what the HomeBot report is beforehand. That in itself becomes the call to action in terms of them being able to manage their mortgage and stuff like that through the HomeBot report. So
I'm
again,
so excited, Jesse.
Yep. So as everyone knows, video is huge. A lot of us have a difficult time figuring out what should I do a video on. So we basically created 41 different ways for you to create videos. So in this particular guide, this is on our blog post, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Because oftentimes the whole reason why I created it is like people were like, well, what do I do a video on? What do I do a video on? So we basically got really super technical, and we came up with 41 ways or video ideas. Now, in this guide, what I give to you is the setup for the video. I give you the call to action to the video, and I give you the reason why we do it. So, fun fact, one of the video ideas in here, many of you are doing videos around to try and be like the community leader. You're doing it restaurant reviews and things like that. So one of our ideas that we did is basically doing videos on dog parks. Now, this might sound a little obtuse, right? But let me tell you the reason why. National Association of Realtors, 9% of people buy a house because of their pet. Mm-hmm. Now, that is mind exploding, right? So if you are looking to buy in a new area and your pet is important to you, you want to find out what is happening at the local dog parks. So go and do a Facebook Live at your local dog park. You will rank #1 across basically Google, YouTube, and everything else by doing this simple little review. Inquire, find out, if there's days when there's training at the dog park, okay? and you're going to do your video talking about the dog park, how nice it looks. If you happen to have a dog like Mike does, take your dog there, include the dog as part of it. Now you're going to connect with the dog people in the community automatically, which is the way that a lot of agents basically brand themselves. But the important part here is that a consumer who is buying a house because of their pet is going to want to know what are the local resources that are available for their dog. Right? So dog parks is a good way of identifying those 10% of people that move because of their dogs. Okay. So that's one simple one. Another one that we've done on here is, instead of doing your restaurant reviews, all of our ideas are evergreen ideas, meaning they're community-based. And we know that real estate is life event driven. So what we do is we give you ideas on generating videos using life events that are indicative of people who will need real estate needs. So another example is we talk about doing video reviews of swim schools, local swim schools. Why? Those people have parents. They have younger parents. If their parents are taking their kids to swim school, maybe they want to buy a house that has a swimming pool or something like that. But the important thing is that you're dealing with parents who have young kids that are eventually going to start to get into this life cycle. Same thing with local parks that play sports, all of the coaching opportunities, do anything and everything around those local community events and videos to identify kids, because that's life events. Pets, again, life events, one of the number one drivers of people that are moving and stuff like that. So just a bunch of those ideas are in here. Gives you how to set up the entire screen, the shot, like everything, the call to action, what you should be texting, so on and so forth. It's all in here. Here's another post that we did, which is leveraging Facebook as a CRM. So a lot of us use Facebook, but we get sucked into it and there's no clear purpose. So I've shared this idea in terms of using Facebook friends lists. This is a dedicated guide on a how-to and how to organize your friends as a Facebook, leveraging how to organize basically all of your friends into a Facebook friends list. It's only available on the desktop version, but I talk about using Facebook as a CRM, and here's why it's important. You could build a list and tag basically your friends inside of Facebook by who they are. So as an example, if you have agents that are friends that are your SOI, create a list called SOI referrals. On Mondays, once a week or whatever day of the week, Fridays, log into your Facebook on the desktop version, go to your Facebook friends list, click on that list for everyone that you tagged as an SOI. Now what's going to happen is your news feed instantly gets converted over into just a news feed of those friends that are on that list. And this is the powerful part, because you don't get diverted into all kinds of different things. Now all of a sudden you have a quick overview, highly efficient, in 5-10 minutes, you can go through and be caught up with all of your past clients or your sphere of influence is currently doing. Like and comment every single one of their posts through that SOI. Again, the friends list is so that your news feed is only them. This is the important part. Once that is done and you share your information, whatever you're planning on sharing, you're going to get way more engagement from them, because now you're going to be top of mind in their news feed. And when you post, now all of a sudden they're going to start clicking and liking your stuff, which basically means your open house ad that you're talking about doing the virtual tour on Saturday is going to get viewed by that sphere of influence, who is most likely going to share that with all of their friends and family. Okay. Get exponential growth by getting them to interact. A lot of us basically our network of friends is other real estate agents, and that's who is watching all of your stuff, because they're the ones that are liking all of your open house and congratulating you on your new listings and stuff. You need to be very thoughtful and targeted in the way that you leverage this. So use the Facebook friends list. As soon as you add them into your friends, you can at that moment add them to that list. That's the easiest way to do it, is in real time as you're adding these customers in. But all you need to do, 10 minutes, like everyone's photos, nice little comment to your SOI, all of your past clients, and then post your stuff. You're going to get way more engagement, and you're going to stay much more top of mind with all of those people. So again, this post shows you exactly how to do it. It's a really, really powerful way. This is another thing. Whenever you sign up for CallAction, we add you to Altos Research. Altos Research is a local market report. I share a lot of it in our private group. I've also done a 1 hour long webinar with Mike Simonson, the founder of Altos Research. Now, what's beautiful about this, using market data, is that it never gets old, and you don't need a listing. And it's the number one thing that everyone thinks about. If you go to a party, Mike, and you tell someone that you're a real estate agent, what's the first thing they always ask you?
How's the market?
Exactly, right? In a tight market or a difficult market or market with uncertainty, that question is actually elevated, right? It becomes more important, more top of mind, because people are not sure. They're getting mixed signals from all over the place. They're hearing unemployment's at 20 million, but they're also hearing that the market is hot at the same time. And how does that work, right? So we show you how to use, I apologize for background noise here. We show you how to use Altos market research reports that we give to you free. You basically do a Facebook Live talking about that report online. Do it as a Facebook Live from your business page, pick a zip code or pick a local area, and then boost those for that following week. And you just do this weekly, talking about the local market. Think about it like the weatherman, that you're doing how's the market for whatever your local targeted market is. Really powerful way for you to do that. Again, this gives you all of the breakdown on how to do that. During those Facebook Lives, tell people to call or text you if they have any questions about the market. And again, you use a call action number in there to make sure you capture all of those leads. Last but not least, I believe this is last. Yep, this is the last one. All of us are sending email, okay? I'm gonna give you three simple tips. Number one, make sure your email signature is not a picture with your phone number, okay? Over 60% of all email is actually checked on a mobile device. If your email signature is a picture with your phone number in there, that phone number is not clickable, and you're asking someone to try and remember your phone number. This is a lot of friction. Not gonna get a lot of calls if that's what you're doing. So that's number one. Number two, to actually generate leads using email, very powerful tip for you. When you pull up your phone, you'll notice that you could see like the first line or two of basically the email, okay? Once they open up the subject line. What I teach you is use a call action, call tracking number. Your subject line is gonna be, how's the Santa Clarita market? Or did you know this about the Santa Clarita market? That's the headline, something that's gonna elicit curiosity, get them to interact. Your first paragraph of that email, you want to have a blue link in there that is separate than everything else. And in that blue link, it's gonna say something like, hey, it's Mike, Santa Clarita market is up 35%. Call or text me at, and put the phone number in that first paragraph by itself. When you look at a phone number on an email, it's going to automatically turn into a blue link. If that's the opening paragraph and it has the link, that's the call to action, because if your headline was good enough and that first sentence was good enough, they're just going to click the button. It's going to pop up the call. They're going to hit call, and now you've captured the lead from your email. Also makes your email responses trackable. right? Because the way that they could respond from an email is typically what? They're going to call you, or they're going to text or email you back. So if you want the calls, capture those calls, but put an email or put a dedicated call tracking phone number at the top by itself. Don't put 5 calls to action at the bottom of your signature, because if you go through everything and you explain what's going on, and in the bottom signature, you increase cognitive load by having, here's my office number, here's my cell phone number, here's my website, here's my fax number. There's analysis paralysis. They don't know which one to call or text. So remove all of that stuff, put one link or one phone number at the very top of the subject line, all by itself. I've seen another agent that has taken this to the next level, which is they put their email signature, or the from is their name, Mike Bjorkman, and their phone number.
That's a great idea.
So that way, what was that, Mike?
So I was just going to say that it's a great idea.
Yeah, you just put it right at the very top. So they don't even need to open the email. They could just see your phone number. That adds for branding. Now, it's good to have an easy to remember branding phone number, something like 657-444-1500, for example. That's really easy when you have a local area code. CallAction gives you the ability to order these custom phone numbers or these vanity phone numbers. We give you the ability to search for all of this stuff. So really simple way. So again, those are 14 ways for you to generate some leads at a really high level. Just remember that all of your marketing, people are going to typically respond by calling, texting, or emailing, or filling out a form. We're doing a really good job at capturing email kind of leads from the internet. That's the whole foundation of the internet. But forms are friction. Remove form friction. Use text for info or just a phone number, and tell people to call or text you, and make sure that you're capturing those specific leads. Mike, I mean, you use a call action number on your yard signs.
Yep.
Are people still calling yard signs?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And dude, like I said, I feel so much better knowing that we never miss a sign call, because honestly, I don't answer calls because it's all spam, right?
Yep.
So when I get
Yep.
that text, I get very excited, and I'm like, okay, good. I didn't get a phone call.
The important thing is, most people, there's 2 reasons why they don't answer their phone, is because they have no idea on knowing who's calling. So what happens as a real estate agent, your phone number is everywhere. So all of the vendors pick that stuff up. So you just get blown up by basically different phone numbers. But if you use a call action number that's only available on your yard sign, there's no way for spammers to get that phone number unless they get in the car and drive to the front of the house and get the yard sign number, right? If you use a phone number that is only on Facebook, yes, everyone can see it, but that is not necessarily going to get sold into lists where your phone is going to get blown up by basically a bunch of solicitors. Also, because call action, as that lead is coming in, we're doing that real-time verification. We're going to tell you, is it a mobile number? Is it a voice over IP, or is it a landline? If it's a voice over IP, like, odds are that's probably a spammer, right? It's probably a telemarketer or someone using a multi-line dialer. So you can make those decisions to not not answer those particular calls. We want you to not feel like a slave to your phone. But when you're spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars doing marketing to generate a call, a text, or an email, you should at least be able to track basically those calls, texts that are coming in. If you're sending that to your cell phone, you're doing yourself a massive disservice, because you're spending money blindly. You have no way of tracking what is basically happening. Since a lot of people use Club Wealth in your group, some of you may know Coach David Stites. David's got basically a call action phone number on all of his yard signs. Last time I took a look at the stats on there, he generated something like 1,900 phone calls from his listings last year. Now, I don't know about you, but what do you pay, a lead? What do you pay for a lead on on Zillow right now? $200?
$200,
so
yeah.
1,900 phone calls is $38,000 worth of leads.
Yeah. How much is call action?
Yeah, we're like $200 a month.
Yeah.
So, so really powerful way for you to, again, generate some leads. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We'll do a quick demo here, if that's okay with you, Mike.
Yeah, no, I mean,
We have
we're
enough
way
time.
over on time, but that's okay. I mean, I'm
All
starting to
right.
think in my head, I'm going to need a part 2 of this. There's so much in my mind that I know what we can do with call action that we haven't talked about. So I'm like, God dang it.
Yeah. All it is basically,
Deserve to know. Like, I mean, that was
all
really
it is,
good.
like everything else, it's all about execution. So that's why we try and give you, if you go through all of those docs from, that PowerPoint that I just basically put out there, that PowerPoint is going to give you links to our help docs. Our help docs are really, really detailed, step-by-step instructions that you don't need to do it. Just give it to someone, one of your assistants, and they can execute on it.
You know me.
So let me share my screen right now again. So here's basically a call action. And some of you may recognize this right now because this is the phone number that I asked for some of you to basically send a text to. So this is our text tool here. I created a keyword called 14 ways. And then here's the response that you would get if basically you were to text that keyword right now. Now, as an example, some of you may feel a little bit overwhelmed by this. So let's do a real-time example of this basically working. So I'm going to go ahead and click here for add a new keyword. And I'm going to do one called Bjorkman. That's going to be our keyword here. And so we're going to use this for Mike because Mike's a good-looking, successful dude. So we're going to turn back around and we're going to say, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel, right? And what's that? Do you know what the YouTube channel is by chance, Mike?
Mike Bjorkman training.
YouTube.com/Mike Bjorkman training.
I hope.
All right. And all I need to do is I need to hit save right here. Oops. We'll do a little quick edit here, just like that. Okay. And if I hit save, for any of you guys that are seeing this right now, these are a bunch of different keywords that I have in here. If you text the word Bjorkman to 657-444-1500, you'll instantly get access to his YouTube channel that we just set up in what, less than 30 seconds, maybe, Mike?
Okay.
If that, right? So pretty simple way to generate a keyword. Now, next level stuff with call action, if you see here, it says attach a drip campaign. If I know the landing page or what's attracting that person based on that keyword, I can actually follow up with the leads by default by assigning a drip campaign that I can create to follow up with those leads. So if it was for something like virtual open houses or a tour or something like that, you could create basically a full drip campaign to follow up with all of the leads that requested the free information. Now, in call action, we're going to talk a little bit about our drip campaigns and why this is so valuable and so important for you. I'm going to pull up one here, which is basically our old buyer lead campaign. I'm going to show you a couple things that make this really, really powerful and are exclusive to call action versus anybody else. Number one, we can send drip campaigns specific days of the week, regardless of whenever they are triggered or whenever they're started. In 99.9% of other systems, the trigger is when a lead is created, the campaign automatically starts, or it's when a campaign is assigned. But if you have an ISA department, unless you got 7-day coverage, you probably don't want to be texting 7 days a week because who's going to respond if someone responds on a Sunday or on a Saturday? So what call action allows you to do is pick specific days of the week for your drip campaigns to go out. Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, or if it's something that relates to speed to lead, obviously you want to run 7 days a week. But what this does, it gives you the ability to build drip campaigns to follow up and to kind of load your work during the week if an ISA is doing this lead follow-up for you. So really powerful tool here for you. One of our additional triggers beyond a phone call or a text coming in or an email lead coming into our platform is if I tag a customer inside of CallAction, tags could be the trigger to automatically start a drip campaign. So let's say you talk to someone and they tell you they have bad credit and you tag them as bad credit, you can have this drip campaign automatically start that would be nurturing that particular customer with a referral to your credit cleaning agency, texting over the link, the name of the person doing the credit cleaning, maybe a voicemail drop from you, and then follow up in 3 weeks from now or a month from now with that consumer all in one shot by simply attaching a tag to someone. The other things that make CallAction really powerful compared to everybody else is our scheduling. So here in our scheduling, we go seconds, minutes, hours. Most CRMs, those of you that have CRMs are going to be really familiar with minutes, hours, and days. A lot of CRMs like Boomtown, for example, only allows you to send a text once per day. Commissions Inc. only allows you to send a text if the person registered through Commissions Inc. website. So if you're buying third-party lead sources, you can't use the text messaging inside of those platforms. So if you're using hours, the problem with this is, let's say, for example, you have a lead that registers, you send them a text message and they registered, let's say at 12:22. And now your next message is going to go out 2 days later. So 2 days later, Mike, what time, this is a test, what time does that guy get that text message?
From the second follow-up?
2 days later, yes.
I don't know.
12:22.
Oh.
Right? And then you do another message a day later. They get it at 12:22, right? What happens, this is using a 12-hour time clock from the previous message. So it's always going to get it at the same time. Now, what's the odds that Mike is going to be texting every single time at 12:22? Right?
Let me ask the question. When we buy this as realtors, does it come preloaded with the campaigns at all?
Yes, we have about 50 different campaigns, and I'll show you some templates that are pre-built in here as well. So we'll do stuff like we can send a text message on a Friday, for example. So let's say I talk to a particular customer, or let's take a look in here. I'll just go back to the original way this was. So this was old buyer leads. Let's say I assigned this campaign to them. This will start an hour after it was assigned. And then the reason why we do seconds is so that we could do these double text messages. A lot of you are using some automation and it's doing these big, giant text blocks texting people. Well, the only people that text me big, giant texts are people that are normally venting. Right? So real life, we text in small, short spurts, multiple small texts. So you can see here that we give you the ability to go down into seconds so that you could do these two-part text messages, which is going to get more attention from the customer as well. Okay, so this is a really powerful way for basically that scheduling, why you want to do that. Now, let's say 3 days later at 9:15, I want to deliver a message, and we'll go back into our scheduling here. I showed you basically the message dates that you can send, so you could do days schedule. So if I'm delivering this at 9:15, instead of delivering a text message, maybe I want to convert this into a voicemail. And now I can deliver voicemails that say, hey, good morning, it's about 9:15. This is Mike. A couple days ago, you inquired through my website. I wanted to touch base, see how things are going. Give me a call when you have a chance. Right message to the right person at the right time does not feel automated because you're referencing a time that this message is being delivered. To take that to another step, you could do a video text. You could do text reminders for yourself. You can start Zapier integrations. You can run email. You can update tags in your CRM. We have this new tool called Call Connect. This will actually call you or your team at that specific date and time and force the outbound phone call to the customer, right? Really powerful tool because we're taking away call apprehension by just forcing the call to happen.
No more call reluctance, team.
Yeah, if you, this is our V card. So again, this goes back into, we deliver a V card to that customer. That V card will contain all of your different phone numbers. So now you're going to appear in the caller ID, not be marked as spam when we text this and we get those customers to download your V card automatically for you. If basically this was, let's say, a real estate campaign for open houses or something like that, maybe I want to deliver this on a Friday on the afternoon and do something, you know, like selecting a pre-recorded voicemail. We could also text and emoji videos. We're one of the only platforms that allows you to do this. This is a great pattern interrupt, by the way. But you could text a voicemail that would say something like, hey, it's Friday, it's about 2 o'clock. This is Mike. I'm going to be doing a virtual open house tomorrow. Let me know if you're interested in seeing that, and I'll text you over the link, right? This goes back into texting that message. One of the tools that I showed you was delivering or creating a drip campaign based on specific dates and times. So this is how I could send a text message on Friday at 11:30 if I wanted to do that. Doesn't matter when they opt in at that date and time. If it hasn't passed, that text message is going to go out. Okay. Really powerful way here for you to basically leverage the platform. So that's all of our text messaging.
Jesus Christ.
One of the other things that we have inside of CallAction is a lead router campaign. I think you use this, Mike, don't you? Which is basically our call broadcast. So this could be the phone number on your yard sign. For those of you that are running a team, you can have multiple phone numbers. So call comes in here, and we're going to ring everybody across the entire team simultaneously. So those of you that are Ylopo users, you can ask Barry Jenkins. He runs all of his CallAction phone numbers with a yard sign like this, broadcasts it to his entire team, and then they get basically the best leads. They get a text message before their phone rings, knowing that it's a sign call, and then they all fight to try and get that phone call answered. So for if you're like Mike and you don't want to answer your phone from your sign calls, you could distribute the leads to basically your entire team by doing that pretty easily. Aside than that, let me show you what the interface looks like in CallAction. And this is kind of where the magic basically happens. Really simple. Here's a list basically of everybody. We could see here Colton, who happens to be on the call, requested some information. This list right here is just basically a list of everyone who is responding. Middle is the conversation. Left-hand side is basically data about that particular person. You can call or text. We give you this ability. Let me just reduce this. We'll show you what it looks like on mobile, which looks like this for sake of conversation. And what you're able to do is schedule a text message, complete that immediately, send that text message, all the same platform, all in real time. You want to assign a drip campaign to a customer, you can do that right here. So that's the basic interface. Let me show you our templates that we have pre-written, and then we'll wrap up with that. We'll go back into drip campaigns. I'm going to open this up and let me not kill you guys with all of my tabs. If I go into drip campaigns here, customers that tell you follow up in a month, we automate that future follow-up by instantly assigning that drip campaign. Here it is all pre-written for you. 15 follow-up attempts over 60 days, 1 week, 1 year, 12-month closing campaigns, confirm your appointments, people that have bad credit, down payment issues. Those of you that buy Zillow leads, here's how to improve your CSAT scores. If you're buying Zillow leads in a rental area, a lot of people will shy away from these. I'll tell you, if you want to buy cheap Zillow leads, buy in an area that has really high rental rates. The zero competition, all of those Zillow rental leads will be deals in a year from now. So it's a really cheap way for you to generate those leads and then nurture them long term. That's basically what this campaign will do. Those of you that are getting Zillow scheduled tour leads, this will basically do that follow-up. Every type of lead source that you have, FSBOs, for example, I think you were asking about that, home valuation templates, mortgage side, virtual tours, Facebook leads, Ylopo high priority alerts, and then all your different Zillow types of leads that you can get. So a bunch of different templates, all pre-made for you, all preloaded inside of CallAction. We also have a private Facebook group where I share some really high level ideas, deep dives on all of the stuff that I just covered with all of you, except it's usually their exclusive first initially. And I think that's about it. So anything,
Dude,
Mike?
you can't do that to real estate agents, man. I'm gonna not sleep tonight. I have so many ideas. I mean, you're gonna have to come back for a part two. That's all there is to it. I don't.
Yeah. Maybe if we do a part two, what I think would be the best is we do a deep dive on one technique so that all of you guys can execute that singular idea. We'll pick something that is easy, maybe like a Craigslist or a Facebook idea.
Set up our
That
sign
you can
calls. Like that's important, right? Like just something that simple,
Yeah.
and do
I
that.
mean, site calls are the single most important thing. Like, let me just pop into my Facebook group and I'll just share this screen real quick. I'll show you a couple.
Everybody's texting me, dude. They want to know how they get it and how much.
Yeah. So,
Live, you weirdos.
so it's callaction.co is the website. Pretty easy to go to. If you request basically the deck, you're going to get access to all of our stuff. Revolves from about depending on the plan, $269 a month, and then if you're running a team, it can get into the thousands. It just depends on how many people on your team. For example, we had Robert Slack and all 300 of his team members on our platform, so obviously that's pretty expensive. But it's like giving a virtual ISA to basically everyone on your platform, all in real time. You could search us on YouTube, just go CallAction. You could do CallAction reviews. We've got a bunch of reviews on there. We also have a program for those of you that have old leads. And I'll kind of close out with this. We have something that's called Revive. If you've got leads that are 0 to 90 days old that you have not been able to contact, you sign up for our call action. We'll make an exclusive offer here for you guys. Give us 200 of those leads. Call Action gives you a 2-week free trial. I will take 200 of your old leads. You're going to record 3 voicemails with us. And what I will pretty much guarantee you is that I will get you about 100 inbound conversations happening from those old leads in the next 2 weeks. All of you know, if you talk to 100 of your past leads, there's a deal in there. I will pretty much guarantee you call action will be free. I'll do this. It'll clean up your database for free. Upload 200 leads. You record 3 voicemails, takes 5 minutes. All you got to do is respond to the calls and the text messages that are coming in. I have Nicole. You could see some reviews basically on our YouTube channel. Nicole did this in the first month. She generated 8 transactions. She's in Houston, Texas. I have Justin Miller, 3 transactions here on the west side of LA, about $4 million worth of transactions in basically 3 days. Veronica Figueroa did this with old seller leads. In the first 2 days, she got 2 new listings for $1 million worth of property. So all we know is this. Our business is about having conversations. You need to have as many conversations with people as possible. You don't want to chase conversations. That is the hard part, right? Is doing all of that follow-up, those thousands of attempts that it's going to take. Call Action is going to automate all of your outbound so that you could focus 100% on inbound. And that's basically what we do at the end of the day.
That was intense, man. And for those of you listening and watching, I'm going to be building a recruiting campaign. So if you guys want to brainstorm and mastermind on that, make sure you reach out to me. Jesse, dude, I love you. Thank you so much. You are my industry man. I can't get enough of you. So everybody heard you commit. We're going to do a deep dive in the next couple of weeks here. And and I saw on your list there, a lot of people requested that deck. So that's really good. So other than that, man, you guys, I told you I don't push very much stuff on you, but if it makes sense, I got to do it as your coach, right? So cool, man. You're the best. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You guys have an incredible week. Good luck out there. Make sure to go deep on those conversations with everyone and stay positive and well. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Yeah, everybody.